Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and thank you for checking out the Lodi Rampage. My name is Cody Van Sayers, and I'm here with my co-host Isaac Pelakodeth, and today we're here to discuss the music from 2018. Now, of course, as most of you have known, there is a lot of music that was released this year, so we're going to need some help. So today we've enlisted our good friend and fellow music fanatic, as well as upcoming artist Elijah Garcia, to help us go over some of this music. So, first things first, let's get into our third favorite of the year. Eli, what you got?
You know, your third best album of the year for me would be East Atlanta Love Letter by Black. It's a follow-up to his 2016 and album called Free Black. Phenomenal mixtape. 2016 was a great year of music, and you know, that album was good. So I had high hopes of the next one, and he dropped East Atlanta Love Letter, and it was just amazing. If you like dark music, if you like dark R&B, vibey music, hard-hitting drums, you know, transitions, fluid transitions. Oh my God, the transition from the song Unfair to Loaded Gun. It's like you still think like, what song is this? Still the same song? It sounds so good. So yeah, those are two notable tracks, very notable tracks. East Atlanta Love Letter, Pretty Little Fears with J. Cole. J. Cole probably had the best, in my opinion, probably the best verse on that whole album. It's like, so he got really good features. He had Future on there. Future was really good.
Future was great.
Yeah, if you like dark music, this album is definitely for you.
I mean, what really drew you into, like, was it like his sort of style, or like his production, his lyrics? Like, what really do you like about it?
His production is A1. It's so good. His production is amazing, and the words are relatable. You know, if you can listen to music that you relate to, it makes it all that much better. If the lyrics are hitting you close to home, it's like, wow, I could really resonate with this music, and I still listen to that album today, and I don't know, I think it came out early 2018 if I'm not mistaken, or mid 2018. I'm still listening to it today. It's a good album.
I think coming off of Free Black, it was going to be kind of hard to follow up to that, but clearly with East Atlanta Love Letter, Black raised his production by so much, and the quality of his music is just getting better.
I didn't think it was possible too.
Yeah,
for production to be, you gotta listen to both those albums. You never listened to them, right?
I've never listened to Black's music.
You should definitely listen to the first album and then listen to the second album, because the production of the first album is amazing on its own. The first one, the second one is just times like 5. I won't say times 10, but it's
good, but not that good.
It is good. It's amazing. So that's why it's my third best album of the year. That was such a good album.
All right. So now, Isaac, what's your third favorite album of the year?
My third favorite album of the year was Astroworld by Travis. Going into this, there was a lot of anticipation, there was a lot of delays, but thankfully we got it finally in August. And again, Travis has found a way to improve his sound without going too far away from what has made him famous and staying in his own lane. And with this album, I also felt like he has learned to mature with his lyrics, and I think that's in part because he's now in a relationship with Kylie, and now he's a father of a child. Some of my favorite songs on this album were Can't Say and Stop Trying to Be God, which is like a perfect ballad that has Kid Cudi vocals.
The humming.
The humming hits you. You already know Kid Cudi's humming is
For his soul.
So, I mean, do you think, you said that there was a lot of delays, do you think the delays were worth it and like made the album better?
Absolutely. It gave Travis a lot more time to work on this and make sure that when it came out, it was perfect. And not to mention, all his live performances just make me love this album even more.
Good live artists make their music even better.
His energy is just unmatchable live. I saw him for only 2 songs. I was like, yeah! I was going crazy.
Yeah. Cody, what about you? What was your third pick for the year?
I'm sure probably none of you have heard this one, but it's called You Won't Get What You Want by Daughters.
By Daughters?
By Daughters, yeah. They're a rock outfit, and this is actually their first album in 8 years, and by far their longest. Usually they're like 20 minutes, this was like 48. So one thing that really instantly gets you is it's really this dark and gritty rock album that like always makes you feel as if there's something watching you, or there's some kind of present, like there's some kind of like dangerous force present. It always builds up the suspense, and it always makes you feel unnerved, but the thing is you never fully understand why. Like, one notable track to me was called Satan in the Wait, where throughout there's part of the song during the chorus where there's this piano just sounds otherworldly, and it just makes the track seem a lot more menacing, and it just adds to that. And there's also Ocean Song, which is this long song that makes you feel as if you're the character of the movie running away from something, but you never know what it is. Like, think about it like as a spectator watching Cloverfield, like the original Cloverfield movie.
Mm-hmm.
You never know exactly what's there, but you know something's there.
That constant sense of like eeriness and something watching. Yeah.
It was and I mean, even perfect.
It's
That it
different.
was dropped on Halloween too.
Oh, so it gave it a spooky vibe.
It was like
Oh,
26.
Spooky season.
It confuses the listener at points, and that's what kind of also adds to the effect of it.
And that's amazing. What's it called?
It's called "You Won't Get What You Want" by Daughters.
What would you
Check it out. It's a great
What
one.
would you say was your favorite part about like production or lyrics?
The instrumentation on it was phenomenal because the lyrics were great. Don't get it twisted. Like the lyrics and the production, or the lyrics and instrumentation were great together. Since they worked so well together, it made the experience that much. Because you had these really confusing lyrics, where some songs maybe picked up with the aggression. And I know there's one part, I forget which song it was. I believe it was "The Final Man," where he goes, "I don't know," and it's just this hard-hitting beat, and you just, or this hard-hitting instrumental, and you just don't know what's going on. You're actually confused listening to
You're making me really
it. Let me know how it is. Let me know how it is.
I love when people tell me music that I had never heard before. Put me on.
So,
Alright, well, should we get into our
Second?
picks?
second picks, yeah. Let's do it.
Alright, so second best album for me, not really an album, but it was more of an EP, which is, if you don't know, like a shorter version of an album, right? That's basically
Yeah,
the
yeah,
best
yeah.
way. So, for me is My Dear Melancholy by The Weeknd. The Weeknd, if you don't know me, he's probably my favorite. He is my favorite artist of all time. So I'm kind of biased in that sense. But he gave us 6 tracks, and those 6 tracks, oh my God, was so full and like in only 6 tracks, it leaves you with the feeling that you just listened to a whole album. But it also leaves you wanting more. That's the best way I could describe My Dear Melancholy. When you start off with Call Out My Name, and because it mixes his music before from Trilogy and Kissland, the darker R&B vibes where it was crazy lyrics and he was talking about really dark stuff. But now he's mixing it with his new stuff, Beauty Behind the Madness and Starboy, which is like pop, more upbeat sounds. He's putting those together with more of a spacey sound under. It's not like it's them two mixed together, but more of a new sound he's making for himself. So, and one thing about it, production, amazing. There's in 2 songs, I don't know how to say his name, Gesaffelstein or Gesaffelstein, but wow. Listen to the song I Was Never. You listen to the song I Was Never.
I've listened to the album.
Listen to
I
it.
read the EP.
You listen to it? Okay, so I Was Never There. You know that switch up in the middle?
Yes.
If you never listened to that song, definitely listen to that song. Just listen to the switch up. The switch up in between the beat switches. Production is probably the best, in my opinion. In my humble, I swear to God, that song alone, production wise, is probably the best I've heard from a Weeknd song. Like, I love that. But the lyrics also is filled with sadness. I mean, it's called My Dear Melancholy.
Yeah.
So it's filled with sadness. It's another get in your bag project. So if you're definitely trying to get in your feelings, the album is amazing, and it gets you. There's more relatable lyrics than Black, more so than Black sometimes too. It was a really good project. But my favorite part, favorite aspect of it would have to be probably the production.
Yeah, the production was pretty good when I listened to it.
You know why too? Because The Weeknd puts his voice with the production.
Yeah.
His voice is part of the beat, and it's so he's doing harmonies under it, and you don't even think it's him, but it's him. He distorts his vocals sometimes. You hear it it sounds muffled, but it sounds so good, contrasting to the hard-hitting drums you hear. Wasted Times, banger. If you're going through a breakup, oh my God, that song is probably what he got that I don't got. I got it, But yeah, that was definitely my second. Every song on that EP, I could listen to every day. There was a time where I was listening to it every day, and then I stopped because there's other music you gotta hit. But wow, such a good EP.
Yeah, it was my introduction actually to The Weeknd, and I feel like I never got a chance to listen to more of his music, but I definitely feel like I should after listening to this, because I feel like the production was so well done, as well as the lyricism and the vocals as a whole were just phenomenal.
Beginning Weeknd and now Weeknd, there's totally two different people.
It's crazy how like his different eras are so different sounding.
Like progression as an artist, like I forgot to even say, like even with like Travis Scott, like how he progresses as an artist, The Weeknd to another artist who progress over the years to something totally different sound. Progression is good as an artist, and 2018 off 6 tracks, he took up most of my 2018 music wise, just all 6 tracks alone. So yeah.
All right, Isaac, what do you have next? What's your next?
My second pick for my second favorite album of 2018 was Vacation in Hell by Flatbush Zombies. They're not as well known because they're an independent group out of Brooklyn, New York. And with this album, it was very long. It was like 19 tracks, if I remember correctly. And it was very clear that the quality of their music was improving because they were getting a lot of live instruments, and production from Eric the Architect, one of the members of the group, was insane on this. Like, I honestly feel like he's probably one of the best producers out right now, and he's so underrated. Tracks like Headstone, where the whole song's literally a reference to all of legendary rap.
Oh my god.
It's insane just listening to it.
I love listening to that song.
And then other tracks like You and I and The Glory, where they're just talking about their families and their upbringings and what led them to this point and what's in store for them for the future. It just made me really happy to be a Flatbush Zombies fan, and I can't wait to see what they have in store for the future.
So you said there's a lot of different things that you enjoyed about the album. What would you say was really standout? Was it the synergy between the groups? I know there's 3 members, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it the production, the lyrics? Like, what really stood out to you as a whole?
Honestly, they work so well together that I think the production and their energy just was probably what made the album stand out so much, because you just hear Eric's production and then how each member comes on it, and then Eric comes on to the track himself. It's insane. It's just really insane, the chemistry that they have.
It's hard to find a group that like all the members bring something to the table. To be honest, like if we're being like really like speaking, like well, a lot of singing groups or rap groups, like there's always standout rappers, but like these 3 together, like they're just, I don't think there's one that stands out more than the other. They all bring something totally different. And that album was very good.
Like, yeah, you got groups like the Migos and stuff that have their own type of style, but there's very clearly better artists than others. With these, they all bring their different energy that it works so well together. What about you, Cuddy? What was your second pick?
So my second pick was, this is a weird pick considering all the music that Good Music had put out, because I know a lot of people like Kids See Ghosts, a lot of people like Daytona.
Mm-hmm.
My personal favorite was Ye, the Kanye West. It's actually my first, one of my first. It was my first Kanye West project, because I listened to a little bit of like Live Pablo. I wasn't really feeling it, but when I checked out this album, I was blown away by the opening track. I Thought About Killing You, where it has Kanye being, sometimes the lyrics will give me goosebumps and make me feel chilled because it's so weird to listen to how honest it was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing about the entire album. There's a lot of honesty towards it, which I really love, where Kanye was kind of reflecting on himself. And I love it when artists reflect upon themselves. And not to mention the production.
Yeah.
The production is,
As usual.
it's phenomenal.
It's Kanye.
What else do you expect?
No need to say it. Like, it's Kanye. Like, Kanye production.
Like Ghost Town?
Ghost Town is a
Ghost
phenomenal
Town.
track. It has so many different artists on it. It has, what is it? 070 Shake.
070 Shake, Cuddy vocals.
Well, Kanye, of course. And I think it's,
Some John Legend vocals.
all of them just work perfectly together.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes for such a, like, the best. I was trying to come up with a word to describe it. And the best word to describe it is probably free. It just sounds like a free song, where it just sounds like you listen to like a nice autumn at night when you're trying to like be with friends and just reflect, kind of.
I think that album's production and just the sound of it was very reflective of where Kanye was at when he was making it. He felt very free in Wyoming, and that it was shown in his music.
And that's what I think is beautiful. His surroundings really shaped his work. And after everything that he said, all the controversial things that he said, I really was expecting an album to be sort of in a similar vein. where it's like him just saying shocking things. And of course, there are some maybe shocking lyrics, not really too many.
Yeah.
But overall, it just felt like a fresh breath of air listening to it.
Do you think the controversy surrounding him like clouded popularity for the album? Because it was a really good album. And like, do you think that like the controversy surrounding Kanye, like that kind of held it back a little?
I feel like maybe a little, but I feel like it's more. I can't really see it doing that much, considering how highly praised people see Kids See Ghosts.
Yeah.
And since Kanye makes one half of Kids See Ghosts, it's really difficult to kind of say that definitely probably turned off some people.
Yeah.
But I feel like overall Kanye's at one of his peaks. Right now.
Musically, Kanye.
At least musically, he's at one of his peaks.
Musically,
right
he's a genius.
Mm-hmm.
I would say musically he's a genius.
And definitely after this, I gotta definitely check out more Kanye West, especially just for the production and the lyrics. Like, man, I can't get over how this album was a sleeper hit for me. It's really surprised me how much I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, it's definitely up there with some of my favorite hip hop albums as a whole.
Yeah.
Top 20. Top 20.
Top 20. Definitely.
Well, I think we should go into honorable mentions now.
All right, Eli, you want to start us off with that?
My first honorable mention would be the Carter 5, long-awaited album. Took forever to drop, but when it finally did, it was worth the wait. Yeah, it was really good. And then my other honorable mention would be Question Mark by XXXTentacion. I'm surprised I actually didn't put that in my top 3. That was really hard not to put that in my top 3, but it's such a phenomenal album. Rest in peace, X. And yeah, those are my honorable mentions.
Isaac, what are yours?
I had My Dear Melancholy within my top 5, but couldn't break the top 3. There's too many good albums. I liked it because the dark production on it and Stein was amazing. And I was really happy that The Weeknd went back to his roots from the trilogy. And my other honorable mention was Swimming by Mac Miller, his last album before his death. I felt like with this album he was reaching his artistic potential, and he was finally able to come to terms with his inner demons, but sadly they caught up to him later.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
You?
So my honorable mentions are Dirty Computer by Jenna Monáe. It's this perfect blend of pop, R&B, hip hop, and funk, and it just has this nice groove to it the entire time. And it discusses many different issues that don't necessarily resonate with me, but I understand the motive or the intention behind them. Like, it talks about social and racial inequalities and sexuality. Like right around the time that this album came out, Jenna Monáe actually came out as being pansexual, which also that kind of is interesting to listen to the album and also knowing that information. And my other honorable mention, so close to my top 3, it was Saba's Care for Me. It's this beautiful album. It's a beautiful hip hop album where it basically is the incarnate of grief, where it deals with Saba dealing with his issues, like the death of his cousin Walter, who's always there for him. And there's such beautiful moments like Prom King that talk about him helping him and how in the end, or Walter helping Saba, and in the end he ends up just passing away to somebody because somebody was greedy enough to kill him because they wanted what he had.
That is deep.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a really good project. Definitely recommend it. So now that we're done with our honorable mentions, let's discuss our number 1 albums. Eli, what's your first?
Best album of the year for me was Championships by Meek Mill. Got out of jail, I was wary on how he was gonna come with an album, how he was gonna feed the fans, because I'm a big Meek Mill fan, Dreams and Nightmares, Dreams Worth More Than Money, DC4, all really good albums. So when he came out with Championships, I remember listening to it in that first track intro.
That opening tune.
Yo, that opening track, oh my, it gets the heart pumping. It sets the mood for the album. Like, it gets you hyped. And that's one thing about the album. One thing about Meek Mill as an artist, he really gets you hyped. But he's also talking real things too. He's not just saying regular nonsense a lot of rappers talk about nowadays. He's talking about real life issues, prison reforms and stuff. And he's talking about how he felt when he got out of prison, how he felt inside prison. It was a really real album. But the vibes were just different. It wasn't a serious album through and through. There were bangers, but there were albums that made you think. There were conscious tracks. And he also had a lot of features, a lot of really good features. Cardi B, Fabulous. Jay-Z gave probably verse of the year and What's Free. That track was insane.
Sure.
And also him trying to mix into other cultures, like with having Latin rappers on it. You know, he's trying to branch out into other communities besides just people who listen to strictly hip hop. Now he's trying to make club bangers that everybody can listen to, and it reaches to more of an audience. That's one thing I like about it. Sampling too. One thing in music is like, one thing that's big in music is sampling. Sampling was done perfectly on this album. He sampled tracks from the 90s, he sampled tracks from the 2000s, like tracks that I haven't listened to in years. The last track also, I think it's called Cold Hearted 2. Yeah, Cold Hearted 2. You know, that sample is from The Weeknd, My Dear Melancholy. That's when I first heard that, I was like, you already know, I was like, wow, like, and that's probably the realest song on the album, not even gonna lie. Cold Hearted 2, that's a standout track alone. The production, phenomenal because of the sampling, it mixed really well. It was just a really good album, and I'm still listening to it also. So it came out towards the end of 2018. I'm still gonna be listening to that in like 3 years time. I already know. That's how good the album really was.
What's really interesting about that is I know you both of you have listened to the album. I actually never have listened to it.
No.
I don't think besides Dreams and Nightmares, the song, I don't think I've ever listened to anything Meek Mill.
Yeah.
So it's interesting hearing you say all this about him. Like, what about like Meek Mill really like interests you? Like, is it his lyrics, his style, his flow?
His
like,
energy. His energy is just crazy. He a lot of people say that he's screaming in tracks, but it's hype, you know?
Yeah.
It gets you in the mood. If I'm gonna work out, I'm definitely bumping Dreams and Nightmares. I'm bumping that first track off the album, Intro. I'm bumping Intro. The one with Drake, you know, he squashed his beef with Drake and all. Now he's taking W's all 2018, you know? Like, it's good.
I think it was great to see Meek grow as an artist now that he's out of prison, and then take on more serious topics instead of the usually inspirational music that he makes, which is all good. But like, it was crazy to see him make that transition.
Yeah, it was wild. He went from making hype music and like going to jail for many months to getting out, and now it's like you're a totally different person. Now you realize more things that you didn't before. He said that in the album, and he said it so well that I could physically, like, and mentally, emotionally feel what he was feeling. Like, I felt the anger, or I felt the hypeness, or I felt like just an OG like taking knowledge to me, like as somebody young, somebody who loves doing music myself, and like wanting to write what I feel and all my experiences. That album itself motivates me to strive better. So that's why that album means that much to me. Why that album is my album of the year.
That's beautiful, honestly.
Cool ass album.
Isaac, what you got?
My top album of 2018 was Daytona by Pusha T. Now, this really came out of nowhere for me. I knew Pusha T was a great rapper, but I wasn't expecting him to come with this amount of heat with only 7 songs on an album. It was all produced by Ye, and as per usual, Ye kills all of his production.
Especially the sampling.
Besides just the production, Pusha's lyricism and his wordplay is like god tier on this album. It's crazy. It's crazy to see him just spit bar after bar, and you're just hooked. You can't help but just it's like you're hypnotized.
Extremely underrated rapper.
And with what he was talking about, just off the album cover alone, that's Whitney Houston's bathroom when she was going through all her drug issues. So it just shows you the type of lifestyle he was trying to portray, which is the luxury of drug dealing, but also the ugly side of it as well, and how it could change you. And just like one line from my favorite song off that album, which was from The Games We Play. You laugh a little louder, the DJ says your name a little prouder, and we don't need a globe to show you the world's ours.
Honestly, I gotta say one thing that definitely, like, as you were saying before, the lyrics on it were just phenomenal. And like, one thing that really stood out to me, my personal favorite, because I listened to the album as well, was Comeback Baby. The sampling on that was just
great.
It was crazy, and the way just Pusha T came in with like so much like confidence, I'd say. Like, he came in hard, confident, and like he knew what he was talking about.
I think that's a perfect way to describe this album. Confident.
Yeah, he just on every track, he never seems to doubt himself. He always comes in with some form of confidence, no matter what song it is.
Unapologetic.
Yeah, that's
he
another
is
good way to
very
describe it.
unapologetic. I mean, just the album cover alone is unapologetic. It's Whitney Houston's bathroom when she overdosed. I mean, that's crazy.
That is
Like,
crazy.
that's a crazy concept for just an album cover. Like, if you're gonna come out with an album cover like that, the tracks on that album have to be fire, and Pusha T gave that.
I think at this point in his career, because Push has been around for a while,
You,
he realized that because he's been overlooked for some time now. He realized he had to come out with something that would cement himself as one of the best rappers out.
definitely.
Do you think he is one of the best rappers out now?
Right now, definitely,
Definitely.
without a
Agree.
doubt, he proved it. What about you? What was your top album in 2018?
So in the months coming up, or in the weeks coming up to this album, I was excited because I had been a fan of his music for some time. I had never delved deep into it, but I've always appreciated him as an artist. And when Denzel Curry dropped his album Taboo, because he dropped it over the span of 3 days. He dropped it in parts because there's 3 separate acts to it, which makes it interesting. There's the light, which kind of shows the glamours of money, him getting this money and him sort of spending it. I knew this album was something special as soon as I heard that first part. Then the second part came out, and I felt where it talks more about dark, grittier things, like how he doesn't trust people, and how he feels that the money's changed him. He also goes down about like socio and political issues, and he talks about things like how the rap game is right now, how America is as a whole right now. He brings so much energy to that conversation, and songs like Sirens, where it features one of probably my personal favorite rapper, J.I.D. It just goes crazy. And the final part, the final part is near perfect to me, because it has Denzel bringing his aggressive bangers that he usually brings. It brings some dark lyrics that people become accustomed to with his music, and it's overall just such an enjoyable listen all throughout. And it's all another thing that's like so like cool is the mention of the black balloon, which is kind of like a symbol for like issues that happen in life, and how but when the black balloon pops, it means that issue's gone and there can be happiness.
So, what's your favorite aspect of the album? Was it the topics that he hit during the album? Was it production? Was it the energy that he brought? Like, what single aspect of that album was the best to you?
See, for me personally, it's difficult to pick one singular aspect, because how Denzel works in a lot of his music is everything he envisions usually goes for him in that direction. So it's like he uses production based off what he wants to do. He does topics based off what he wants to do, and they all blend together. And he always has a sense of energy to him. There's always this uplifting energy, because there's songs like Sumo, BMT, Perks, where it's like all this energy's coming at you at once. And there's other songs on the album, at least, that are more chilled out, like Black Balloons, Taboo, and it's definitely like an enjoyable experience all throughout. And everything he does always works near perfect.
Is it his best project to date?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Because it definitely
Even more than what was the one?
Imperial?
Yeah, because I remember.
Imperial is better if you're looking for more like just bangers and just to have a fun time necessarily. But Taboo is definitely his best artistic work, in the sense that it has a lot of meaning behind it. There's a lot of different messages and themes behind it, like, you know, also with his brother, Black Balloon itself, different things like that are interesting to pick up on different listens, because there's different things that I've thought about more and more, like all the references to his brother and how that affects him as a person and his music, and how the album as a whole is shaped by these different things, like his brother's death and other hardships. And like the death of Trayvon Martin, because he actually went to school with Trayvon Martin. They went to school together. So that kind of shows, when he mentions him on the song Sirens, at first I thought nothing of it. But then I thought, you know, not nothing of it, but like I thought like, oh, that's a nice little nod to that. But the fact that he actually went to school with him, that changed a lot, because it became like, oh, he actually knew this kid.
It's like more personal.
He knew him, and when he mentions him, because there's a lot of fire in his voice when he mentions him.
Yeah.
There's a lot of anger towards it. So when he mentions him and his brother in that same line on the song Sirens featuring J.I.D., there's a lot of energy to it, and it's very interesting listen, just catching up on different things like that.
I gotta listen to it.
Definitely check it
I
out.
only listened to Sumo. Sumo was really good.
Sumo's a good track, but
Guys, listen to the rest.
Cloud Cobain, Vengeance, Sirens, phenomenal tracks each.
Yeah, I think 2018 was like the start of rappers being more open about personal issues in their
Yeah.
music. With albums like Kids See Ghost and Taboo,
Yeah,
and
because
Championships even.
another thing that I failed to mention, or I haven't mentioned yet about Taboo as a whole, or Taboo, is that actually in the first track, Taboo is kind of like this character who's sort of like Denzel, but not fully Denzel. He mentions in an interview after it came out, he was actually assaulted when he was young. Like somebody assaulted him when he was at a young age, and that kind of influenced the line on the first song. Which, if you listen to the first song, it sort of shows that, or it sort of shows that how it's affected him. And throughout all the different issues he talks about, we can still sense that there's a lot that goes on in his head at a time.
Like what happened back then still affected him to this day.
I mean, things like his brother passing away, but in terms of that, he was molested when he was young.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
along with that, he's seen people die. He feels a lack of trust of people nowadays because of the success he's attained.
How could you not? Yeah, right.
Yeah, because you don't know,
How could you
people
not?
come into your life, you don't know who really is there for you and who's just there for the money.
Yeah.
So it definitely gives an interesting perspective listening to all these different things he discusses on the album. Because although the album isn't anything excessively long, it's 13 tracks,
Mm-hmm.
it gets a lot done. It talks about a lot. It talks
It
about
covers
everything.
a lot of topics.
Yeah, and Denzel really does an eloquent and beautiful job discussing everything. Even though sometimes he's a little more vulgar than in some songs and others, like Perks, he swears a bit, but he's just showing whenever he swears, he doesn't swear just to do it.
It's part of the creativity process.
Yeah, and it shows his anger towards things, like songs where he's talking about the rap game as a whole and how he's not happy with how people are. It sort of elevates it to the next level by him showing his aggression that way.
Music is an art form. And
Yeah.
It allows you to express yourself, and he expresses himself that way. Wow.
All right. So you said music is the art form, the form of expression. So, and I know you're an upcoming artist. Where can we find some of your music?
You can definitely find me on SoundCloud. I'm gonna definitely start dropping a lot of music this year, like a lot. And you can find me on SoundCloud. Gonna be like right here, around here, and you can definitely check me out there. Check me out on my Instagram where I'll post a lot of stuff. Follow me on Twitter too. Usually, follow me on Twitter too. Little by little, once I get a large catalog of music, I'm gonna start dropping things, and I hope the masses enjoy.
I know I will.
Thank you, sir. The support is amazing.
Well, I'd like to thank you for joining us.
Thank
on
you for
this.
having me.
I
This was amazing. It was fun.
hope 2019 was a great year, music-wise, for you.
Thank you, man.
Well, there you have it. Those are our top albums of 2018. Coming up with this list was pretty hard. There's a lot of good music. Hopefully 2019 is just able to top that. And we did, us three and the rest of the Rampage, would like to thank you all and wish you a Happy New Year.